All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited that we have actually a lot of men in the room as well, sponsored by Women in Aviation event. So thank you very much for supporting us. Can you hear me also without the mic? Can everyone hear me? Or is it a bit too? So who prefers without the mic? Raise your hands. Who prefer with the mic? Raise your hands. Okay, half-half. I'll just keep the mic then. Okay, all right. So I was told, welcome to today's event. We are gonna start with a productivity workshop. I was told by my team that the worst time to start a productivity workshop is in the evening, which we are. The worst day to start a productivity workshop is a Monday. The worst month to do a productivity workshop is where? December, because people's minds are simply not there. So a big applause to all of you. So you really want to make it. A bit enthusiastic, please, people. All right, cool. So I'm not going to bore you with a lot of things. So we actually redesigned a little bit of the workshop today to have a little bit more fun as well, because Sarah mentioned I'm a fun MC, pregnant or not pregnant. Always funny. So for the ones who don't know me, so I run the company ZaZaZu. So we help professional women navigate through challenges at home, at work. We tackle microaggression sexism, how to build confidence in competence, how to build your personal brand as women. So we tackle on organization level how to help women to grow and live the best version of our life, not what society tells us to do, okay? So we are gonna start with a fun activity because you guys also want to mingle a little bit. So we're gonna give you a little bit of room for that. And then we are gonna tackle a bit what is the biggest obstacle of productivity, what is hindering us. And then we talk a little bit about mindset management, time optimization. I deliberately say optimization, not management. I'll tell you why later. And energy management. How can we do less to do more? And 6 practical tips you can start right after this workshop. All right? Okay. Icebreakers, who know these activities? 2 truths and 1 lie. Excitement in the group. Okay, so I want everyone to get in pairs. In pairs. Talk to your, find your pair first. Okay. If there's one person stand alone, let me know who's there. Huh? That everyone have 2? Okay. Everyone? Who, so before you start, before you start, not yet. Listen to instruction, please. Anyone stand alone? No one. Okay. All right, okay. 2 person, so please make 3 statements. 2 of them are true about yourself. 1 of them is false about yourself. Each of you, who decide who is A? Who is A? Please raise hand. A. Please, A. Who is A? Everyone has an A? A. All right, A. Okay, now you point your finger to your partner and say, you start first. All right? No. Okay. Let's go. All right. How is it, everyone? Everyone get some interesting truths, interesting false? I need to do a selfie. Make a look. Okay. Does anyone want to share the most amazing truth that she or he thought is true? False? Anything interesting? Yes. Vinash, please. And that's true or false? So Margaret says she's sexy, and she thinks that's a lie. Is that typically woman? So is Margaret sexy or not? Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so something, okay. In terms of productivity, women in the workplace, more tasks overall are assigned to women. So 55% tasks are assigned to women. True or false? True or false? True. Beautiful. Okay. Women send 20% more message than their male counterpart during work. True or false?
Yes, I think so.
True or false? True. Okay. despite the fact that they send so many texts, women are still 10% more productive than men. True or false?
True.
Yeah, so rule number 1, in order to stand out, you break the rule. So all 3 are truths, okay? None of them is lie. Okay, already having fun, great. We should have some wine. So, biggest obstacle to productivity, what's that? Any guess? Tanya, there was a reason when I told you, you don't have to participate in the workshop for a reason. Yes, please. Yourself? Why do you self stand in the way?
Sorry?
Why does yourself stand in the way?
I think in general, because you control what you do or don't do.
Yes.
Focus your distractions.
You design your time, you design your energy, you are the owner, you are the master, right? Luan?
I would say time.
Time.
Yeah.
Biggest obstacle. Okay, we have so many things, so little time. Where are all this time going? I'm going to tell you later where are all this time going, okay? Biggest obstacle in productivity is actually multitasking. I think when I entered the workforce 20 years ago, people say, okay, one of the JD says actually you have to be multitask, and we expect especially women to be multitasking, right? But actually multitasking, doing things at the same time it actually hinder you progress. And there are 2 kinds of things require your attention. One is backtasking, the other is switch tasking. Anyone knows what does it mean? So backtasking means, for example, if I make a salad and the bread is baking behind. I'm here hosting the workshop. Bastian is actually recording me, so I need to pay a bit of attention, but I actually don't have to actively do anything. So things that does not actively require my attention, but is still running behind. That actually could enhance productivity. But most of us, when we do things, is switch tasking. What does that mean? You listen to what I'm saying. Somebody in the back row got a text, okay, what's dinner for tonight? Or the workshop was really boring. The green she's wearing, that's not Irish green. For example, like this. So in the moment where you switch context, where you switch your attention, it actually takes you 23 minutes to going back. You might not know it, but it actually takes a lot of time. I'm gonna prove it to you, okay? Everyone has a piece of paper, and in the front row, there's a line. Does everyone has a pencil? Who doesn't have one, please raise your hand. The team is gonna distribute you, okay? Great. Before you do anything, listen to the instruction first. So on the first row, you see is switch tasking is a thief, because I think that's the biggest thief that is stealing our time. And the second row is says number 1, 2, 3, 4 until 21, because there are 21 letters in the sentence. Switch tasking is a thief, okay? Does everyone have a pen now? Everyone ready? Almost ready. I'm gonna take my timer. So you're gonna do something, I'm gonna record the time. Clock, there we go, timer, okay. Okay, everyone has a pen? All right, so you are gonna write, when I say start, you are gonna write in the 2 lines below where I started with S and 1. So the first one, you are gonna write switch tasking is, don't write yet, switch tasking is a thief. Then you write the number 1 to 21. When I say go, you go, okay? Okay, go. Switch tasking is a thief. And then you write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way until 21. So the next row is the same sentence. Now you're going to write the exact same thing, but instead of writing the sentence and the number, you're going to write S1, W2, I3, T4. This is when you multitask. So I say go. Okay, did I make my point? Yeah. Did I make my point? Okay, excellent. I think almost everyone is done. We are like at 1 minute and 15. So usually when usually when we multitask, we don't recognize actually what we are doing 2 things not well. The likelihood for you to make mistake is much higher as well. So actually, I mean, we cannot avoid multitasking, but just keep in mind the moment where you listen to someone speaking or when you are in a meeting, something that really requires attention, doing two things at the same time actually is a stopper, all right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about mindset. I want to give you 3 things about mindset in terms of productivity. Perfectionism. I think this is a little bit, also I already apologize a bit to the men in the room. Some of the things are very unique to women. I think in Asian culture or ambitious people, all of you are sitting here on the December losers, all of us, Monday evening, December, not doing anything in the evening, is that because we want to do things perfectly. So we always, one of my old mentors always tell me, doing things roughly right, then precisely wrong. Because very often we do things, we wait until it is good enough, it's perfect to our standard, that actually hinder us to move forward. So separate process from result. Because very often, I'll just take an example. I think the Women Aviation members, most of you attended the Women Aviation Gala. We started the first one in 2022, so 1 year ago. 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago. Yes, right? Okay. So on that year, it was the very first time everyone says, Luann said, let's do a dinner. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is crazy. We have this, we have that. We have no resources. Everyone's working. And the goal was to, of course, get people together. This was roughly after COVID. But the goal was actually to raise $100,000 to support the mentorship program. That was the goal. If you look at the process, the vendor didn't come on time. The table was not correctly placed. There are too many people in too small tables. People who serve wine cannot serve the food. Who serve the food cannot serve the wine. There are many, many things behind the scene people who attended couldn't see. But the result was what? We raised, I think, $120,000. The result was perfect. So if everyone at that time, we actually decided not to do it because the process per se was flawed, we would have never have reached that. So keep in mind, what is the process? What is the result? Let's aim for the result. And also focus on the progress, not perfection, because in the second year, we recently, one month ago, no? We had the second time gala dinner. So the goal, again, was to raise $100,000. So at this time, compared to the first one, what was different? We had way more resources, but we spent way less time. And the event was put together in with a much smaller team. And because the progress, we made a huge progress compared to last year. And compared to that, and we raised the money, the minister come. So, but you still see the process, you cannot expect process to be perfect. Even today, I was so well prepared, but then the mic is not running as I wish. There are many things I was hoping that the people will have like a cardboard, you can write things. You cannot expect the process to be perfect. As long as we make progress, and the result after the workshop, you said, okay, the workshop is great, or the workshop is crap, that's the 2 results I'm expecting. So you tell me later which one is it, okay? So whenever women specifically fall into this perfection trap, really think about it. Are you focused on the result or the process, okay? Number 2, okay? Everyone taking notes, don't take notes, take actions. Huh? Because very often when you are in an event or conferences, when you attend a master class or any kind, what we love to do, we love to take notes. And what happened with the notes? What's gonna happen tonight with the notes? Deeply, deeply buried somewhere, all right? So what I would always recommend is that whenever you attend a meeting, attend a workshop, attend a master class, listen for actions. So whatever I say, you say, okay, that makes sense, what she just said. So then highlight the actions. Don't say, okay, don't multitask. But tomorrow, when in that meeting, I'm gonna put my phone aside, but really listen. So highlight the actions and go back home tonight, process some of the things, because once you highlight them, you don't have a highlighter, then circle them. It's much easier to see, okay, these are things I want to do. And then simply take actions. Put it on your calendar, schedule it. This is the way I'm gonna do it. Then the notes actually, because they always say, there's a lie, they say knowledge is power. No, knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is only power when we apply it. Okay, last but not least, focus on what you can control. I've been running, this gentleman who just said, because we are somehow our hindrance, our own thing, because very often just think about your day today, have a short reflection. What are you worried about? I'm worried about Am I going to be on time in the meeting because the traffic's bad? Today, 100 people sign up, but will people turn on today? No, turn up, thank you. Turn up tonight. And there are so many things we can control. We have done several workshops recently, and organizations are telling us they are very upset with the recent war event, things that are actually upsetting me with what's happening in the world. To a large extent, even if you work like a cool startup, scale up like Stripe, a lot of things you actually can't control. So if you just do an assessment by yourself, what are the things are you worried about today? Most of the things, 40 to 60% are things that are completely out of your control. So there's no point to worry about it in a way. So recognize what can you control, what you cannot control. What is really helpful is what action can you actually do to make a difference. Just like this example, when Luann started with Marie-Louise at that time, Women in Aviation, they were actually frustrated because there are so many, when you talk to people about women in aviation, people are like, okay, these are stewardesses. People have a misconception about there are so many different roles in aviation. There we have met great female pilots. We have met women that are working in maintenance, in R&D, but these people don't come together. We don't know each other. It's really frustrating. We don't exchange. We don't know how to grow. We don't understand the industry. So what did they do? They started what we have today with so many members. So what action can you specifically take to make change to the things that frustrate you? Because I think every individual can contribute to that. Last but not least, very often we are upset with ourselves as well because we make our own mistake. And then we are beaten up, especially women, once the small things happen. All the great things, I think the first thing after the amazing gala dinner Luann did was, okay, let's have a debrief about what went wrong. And then we had this meeting and everyone was like, this went wrong, although the event was amazing, okay? So I think turning into failure into a learning experience, I think we only fail to learn, we only fail if we don't learn the things and repetitively doing the mistakes, okay? Okay. Time optimization. I hate the word time management because can you manage time? No. Whether we're sitting here today or you decide to spend with your kids or spend in front of Netflix, the time is gonna be gone nonetheless. So we cannot manage time, but we surely can optimize some of them, okay? 3 tips again. Overschedule, build a buffer. I think when I started my career, it was in the early 2000s, and it was like my manager at that time was like, let's optimize, our calendar. Let's optimize every minute, make the maximum out of every minute. If you make the back-to-back meetings, all this kind of events, if you schedule everything back-to-back, the likelihood that you're gonna be interrupted and you're gonna be delayed for the next one extremely high. So that end you up with dissatisfaction with every action you do, isn't it? So overestimate how long things gonna take. I understand that in organization often we cannot define when are we gonna have which meeting, but whenever you have the agency and the authority to do, overschedule. I would say regardless what kind of task you have, if you think that's gonna take 30 minutes, don't schedule the next thing to the next 30 minutes, schedule an hour. Always overschedule 50%, block your time, build a buffer. Even if you don't need that, and any unexpected thing is gonna come, you can actually solve that during that time, okay? So action, don't take notes yet. Okay, increase value per hour. If you go out in a networking event, later on you're gonna mingle and say, I earn $100,000 a month, the other, a year. Someone else said the same, but one said, I work 80 hours. The other said, I only work 30. So who is more successful? The one works 30 hours, right? So because value per hour, and I think very often we overestimate a lot about money. We're money cheap and time generous. And that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes we make. So list of your work tasks, also your private tasks, things that you have to do. Make a big list, end of the year. So don't do it next year, do it already end of the year, so you start 2024 differently. And then choose the one that's most valuable. I always say to women specifically, it either needs to bring you learning or it needs to bring you earnings. Because what I emphasize here is because next year what's going to happen in the first 3 months, going to be women, IWD is going to come. The organization is going to say, oh, women, let's celebrate the other women by using your time and organize events. Are these events going to bring you more salary, or are these events going to give you a promotion? None of them. And there are many, many tasks. We actually did a study with 1,500 women here in the region. They find out actually 50 to 60% of the work they do in their daily time does not lead to money or promotion. So no value behind, okay? So schedule your time, 80% of your time, to focus on the thing. This is not a women's specific thing, also for men. Any things that you do not bring you value, kill it, delegate it. I will show it later on, how to do it. Okay, last but not least, avoiding crowd mindset. What does crowd mindset mean? Huh? December, Christmas is coming. What do people do on 23rd? Christmas shopping. Everyone lining. So if you go to the supermarket just on a random day, right, you have two lines. There's a short line, there's a long line. Which line do you stand behind? Short line or long line? Short line, obviously. Maybe Singapore is an exception because I feel that the longer the line, the people is going to line up to a certain extent. So it's an exception. But usually, naturally, we stand in the shorter line, right? But just think about your personal tax filing or performance review. There are certain dates in the year that's fixed. You know performance review is gonna be in the first 3 months. Everyone just gonna submit their sheets, their dates during the time where the boss or where the managers are the busiest. Is he gonna dedicate time to you to review? No. So avoid crowd mindset. Try to find a way that you try to find a time slot where people are not, majority of people are not doing something in that time, and you should do that. So I do Christmas shopping in November, for example. Mm-hmm. All right, okay. Energy management, last but not least. Manage energy, not time. And I think a lot of us we have different chronotype. I think generally, human, we go to work at 9, we ended our work at 6. It's actually a very weird concept because we have different energy level. Some people chronos are morning birds, some are night owl, and you have different level of energy. Some people, from introvert, taking meetings is extremely exhausting. Some extrovert, they're dying during COVID, so okay, I need human connection. So whenever you recognize your own pattern, can you do something? Are you an introvert? Are you extrovert? When are you most efficient? When do you have the most energy? Schedule things that bring you the learning that is important to you during that time. Of course, I know many things incorporate you cannot change, but whenever you have the agency authority, recognize the pattern and schedule things that's most valuable during the time that is best for you, okay? All right, how can we do less to do more? It's a very interesting thing. Luan mentioned what is the biggest obstacle? Is time. We always say, everyone, can we have a meeting together? Can we meet tonight? Oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. I'm a firm believer that we all have time. We just use time very differently. So a very interesting exercise, and I encourage, I think only 10% of this group will do, but 10% will get amazing learnings, is that track yourself 168 hours. That's how many days? Quick math. Quick math, 168 divided by 24. 7, thank you very much, a week. So track yourself a week by 30 minutes. You can do an hour as well, means start from somewhere. Saying, okay, today, the first I spend it now from 6:15 to 7:15, listen to productivity workshop. The next 30 minutes, I'm gonna mingle. Next 30 minutes, I'm gonna listen to a panel. Next 30 minutes, I am gonna be on the way, I spend. We have done this with our workshop. We have, in the last 2 years, we have done this with roughly 500 people who actually managed to do it. And let me just share 3 findings. People are spending more times on something that's unexpected because we don't build a buffer. You are working on the strategic important meeting, on the things, on the paper and stuff, your boss comes or your peer comes, oh, could you just quickly, write that email, have a look, and then distracted, take again, how long? To going back, I mentioned Yes, oh, someone's listening. Thank you. I'm touched. So spend unexpected, so because you spend a lot of time, we spend a lot of time on unexpected things that is not on our agenda at all. And most of them are for someone else. That's the second surprising fact. Second one, task precedes over priority work. Because sometimes we want to be distracted as well. Sometimes working on that paper, oh, I have to submit my TED Talk for 2 years, and I always find a way to, to distract myself. And then sometimes, but note it down. I always say, oh, I don't have enough time, don't have enough this and that. I find many, many excuses. But most of the time is that we don't want to do the priority work because that requires whatever kind of brain power or things that that make us grow, but still we somehow just don't want to do it. So be honest with yourself. Last but not least, 40% of the task is not necessary. It's not doing for something else. It does not lead to earning, learning, purpose, fun, any of them, whoever we define the KPI. So one thing I learned is that the big lie we tell ourselves we have no time is simply not true. We all have time. We just don't use the time that efficiently as we wish to. And you will also be surprised that if I ask you, how long do you watch Netflix during the week? People, this is anonymous now. People are writing, oh, maybe 3 hours. We have average of 12 hours Netflix watching during the week after they did that thing. Okay, so analyzing this result, take a week. I would recommend. People will say, okay, next week is not so good because I'm traveling. The other week is not so good. Then you ended up never doing it. Any week is fine. Maybe not the week you are in vacation, but just any week when you are next year, Jan, maybe not in Chinese New Year, but normal week, whether you travel or not, note it down 30 minutes to 1 hour, track for a whole week, and you will be surprised how many things you actually waste. And so don't say don't have time. Then after you have that, you can really do an audit for yourself, okay? What can you cut? What can you schedule? What habits are working for you? Because sometimes you will work really efficiently as well. So can we apply this in other area of our life? And where can you cut yourself some slack? So I did a really hard day, so I deliberately watched 2 hours Netflix. That's fine, as long as it's intentionally, okay? Okay, another exercise. I think most of you know Eisenhower matrix. When I asked people, have you done this before? Everyone said yes, and I said, then list it for me. What are the things important, urgent? Most people know, but again, it's only potential power. We don't use it. That's why I said, let's do it today together, write down to have a start. So for the one who don't know, okay, there's X and Y. So we divide things into 4 quadrants, things that are important, not important, versus urgency and not urgent, okay? So number 1, what are things that are important and urgent? Things that project deadlines, things that have a problem that if you don't do it immediately, don't finish it, clients gonna complain, things are gonna go south, finishing plan project. What are these things? How can you do it? You just have to do it. No discussion, cannot overcome. Second group, what are things that are not urgent, important? I want to emphasize a bit on this area. Most people neglect this area because things are super important. Pursuing the MBA, doing this masterclass, finally learn this language, get that certificate. It's not urgent, but it's super important for progress our career, but it's not urgent, so other things are less relevant will just come and kill the time. What do you do with this kind of task? Schedule it, put in your calendar, block the time, don't disturb. I'm gonna work on my personal project. Third quadrant, things are not important, but they're super urgent. Buying groceries, sending kids to school, responding for some emails that you are in CC. What do we do with it? Do we have to do it? Delegate, ask someone else to do it, ask your team member, or use time if you are in a very, very junior position or you are a student, for example, do this task in the time where you have low energy. Afternoon, after a heavy meal, when you don't require a lot of attention, do it there. Last but not least, not urgent, not important, what are things? Social media, watching TV, video games, things that are not, are just time thieves. Don't delete all of them. Some of them you need to have them as well to keep you mentally sane, but do it them intentionally, and the one that you don't do intentionally, just delete it. So I would say, let's just spend 5 minutes, have a start, write down the things that's on the other side of the page. I say, yeah. And just write it down, some of the things. And I would say, let's focus a bit on the things that are not urgent, but important. Okay? If you are not in the working mood, we can move on as well, but I assure you, if you go back home, you won't do it. So do it now with everyone. 5 minutes, okay? All right, I would say that's a good start, so you can actually continue. It's much easier to continue doing something than, does it make a difference if I use the mic? No difference. Now, can everyone still hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm gonna drop the mic. Okay, all right. Okay, coming almost to the end, 6 practical tips you can apply right away. Okay? Number 1, write it down, keep it out of your head. So how does our brain work? Especially women, we have so many things, the kids, the work, the grandparents, the everything. So in the moment where you have everything in your head, you don't create space for new thinking, for growth, for concentration, for focus. So write it down, literally. Put a paper in front of me, post it, but not as a to-do list, I will tell you why, but write it down, get rid of it, okay? So for example, give feedback for the presentation, for anything. Don't write it, give feedback. Write the steps in give feedback as well, because often we have a task, most of the tasks require several steps. If you just write it down, do the presentation, when you actually have the time to do the presentation, because you didn't plan well, there are so many things, it's not structured in your head yet, then something you are gonna take more time, and the next task that actually is gonna be the same chaos, then you are gonna just push this task away. So break it down when the task has multiple steps. Review the presentation, you have to decide on the feedback, and then you have to give the feedback. In the moment where you just write the step down, this thing is out. When next time we really have to do it, then you can just follow the step. It's easier. Number 2, I hate to-do list, and I say that to schedule in calendar. Because to-do list, who has a to-do list? Everyone has a to-do list. Does anyone ever finish your to-do list? Really, Tanya? Okay, please never attend my workshop again. So usually when I say to-do list, everyone has a to-do list. At least my to-do list look like this. I have such a long to-do list. And by the end of the day, I might finish half of it. So actually, when I finish my day, when I cross the finish line, I feel very unsatisfied because the to-do list is just growing. So what I do is now I do to schedule. So everything what I plan to do today, I put in the calendar, and when the day is gone, the task is done, I cross the finish line, then it's a win. And often some of the to-do list things are in the second quadrant that are super important but not urgent. Then you say, you know what, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Then 10 years later, it's still not happened yet. So schedule it and do it. Number 3, what do women like to say? Yes, a lot. To events, to do this. I think one of the biggest things prevent women to grow is actually the likelihood to say yes. And there is, this is valid for men as well, but there's a history behind women. Because when we grow up, what did our parents tell us? To be the good girl, to be the nice girl, to please people. Women generally have a tendency to please. Meaning, if I ask you something, could you please do it for me? Or could you please do it for the team? Could you please do it, to the bigger good? Likelihood for us to say yes is yes. Even if I say, I'm not sure whether I have the time, it won't take that long, just half an hour. Then the day is gone, then you never grow. So what I always tell people is that firstly, consider, is it earning, learning, purpose, or joy? In the professional context, keep it to learning and earnings. Screw the purpose and joy. That you can do privately, okay? And anything, very often we say things very fast, especially when they occur in the future. So what I always say, I make your default no. And then if something's really interesting, for example, ask me, are you gonna MC the gala dinner next year? I always say, okay, if it's gonna happen tomorrow, am I gonna do it? Yes, I'm gonna do it. If you're gonna do it tomorrow, it's a yes, then say yes. Otherwise, always Learning, this is just my saying. You can evaluate your own what matters to you. If it does not fulfill that, screw it. Say no. And then when you say no, because we don't like to reject people, you can tell, I want to make sure that what I do is good, and right now my plate is full. And second, you can say, okay, I'm a little overwhelmed as well, and I don't think I would do a great job that you are asking. Because in this way, you are not rejecting people, you are just unable to accept. That's a very different thing. Okay? Okay, number 4, make a not to-do list. What am I not going to do? I'm just gonna share with mine. I do not multitask. This is like a big thing, in front of over on my laptop. I do not multitask when I listen. Sometimes I get bored. That's why I want to distract myself. It's not that I want to multitask. Do not say yes without reason, so without my KPI, learning, earning, or purpose. Do not check email constantly. I sometimes see certain people, running their email all the time. It only gives you anxiousness. You cannot solve the problem immediately. And do not do things for someone else if you can't teach them. Very often we tend to do things just for someone else. Can you do this fast? Take the time and then let me help you to do it. Take a little bit more time. If I can teach you, I don't do it for you. Because then this way, you get rid of that person once you learn it forever. Okay, last but not least, number 5, make a to-dread list. I think that's very important. All of us has privately, professionally, there are a lot of things. We have to do it. We have to have the hard conversation. You have to get rid of someone. You have to give a bad feedback on the project. We have never learned to have candid and candor conversation, difficult conversations. But all these things, they don't disappear just because we say, okay, let's just bury it. Just bury it, but it's still there. So write it down and make it to-dread list, things that must happen, but you don't know. You just postpone it. And schedule a time and do it all at once. Because in the moment when of course you can do it, just like do one hard thing per day, but the thing that requires you to have that guts to have hard conversation or to do that project, sometimes you have to have the momentum. So have the momentum, schedule a time, 3 solid hours, just gonna do the to-dread list. And I promise you, once you finish the hard things you have to do, the liberation, the empowerment you feel is amazing. Very, very last things. I learned this from the CEO that he actually told me, because I was like, okay, what do you do? I was doing this coaching session. She said, Jingjin, have you heard email bankruptcy? I was like, okay, what? He said, okay, this is how my email look like. Usually before the 7, there's a 1. And I want to have 0 email because most of them I don't read. I'm on CC. There are so many things. I'm so overwhelmed. The email people just don't respect my email boundaries. I cannot put them into junk. I cannot put it into spam. So end of the year, I just write an email to family, friends, and work colleagues. And I'm gonna say, so different. So your message is super important to me, but I'm getting overwhelmed. You can relate, huh? So this is currently, I have 1,000 whatever message in my inbox. It freaks me out every time. So to fix the problem, I'm gonna declare bankruptcy for email. So I'm gonna get all my 1,000 email into the archive and never touch it again. And I won't be sorting them out at all. So the good news is now, if things is really urgent, I will have more attention to you. Most of the things, let's be honest, the things that you have been dragged for a month, some of my email are ever gonna answer them. You just hope they will solve themselves. So get rid of it. End of the year, this is something you can really practically do, declare bankruptcy, and I promise you, your coworker, your boss, they will think that's so funny. And if they think that's not funny, not the right people to work with. All right, okay, coming to the end. Summary, next step, what's gonna do? What do we learn? Switch tasking is a thief, thank you. Manage energy, optimize time. The inability to say no is the #1 killer in getting anything done. So make your default no. Say no more often. What's gonna happen after webinar? Everyone's pumped? No. Expectation, reality, very different. Everyone's super, this is very exciting, but tomorrow, same old. So I would recommend to do 3 things. I said track 168 hours. Are you gonna do it? Unlikely. Start with 24 hours because usually the pattern will just repeat. Start with something small. Tomorrow, if it's a working day for you, just track tomorrow. And then times 7. That's most likely is going to be what's happening. Complete the Eisenhower matrix, what you have just started. And this is a good planning for next year as well, for New Year intention. And make your not to-do list. And I recommend everyone to share it with your friend, with your colleagues, saying, these are the things, New Year resolution, my New Year resolution, these are things I'm not going to do. The reason behind is because I want to be more productive. I want to be more present. I will be a much better employee, manager, boss to you when I do this. When you share it, people know why you start to do it, and they respect it as well. That's it. Thank you very much. Question? Any questions? Overwhelmed? Everyone's waiting. Yes. Yes, please.
Just on the saying no, and you actually had a post on this recently, which reflected a conversation I've had with a number of colleagues, which is to just kind of any advice on not over-explaining why you're saying no. I mean, even with the examples you gave, to sort of let people down gently. You know, if you say, oh, well, I'm a bit overcommitted at the moment, there's a tendency for people to come back and be like, oh, well, this will only take an hour and you'd be so marvelous and nobody else would be better than you at this. And it really won't take that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who is of the view, but I think it's really hard to do that no is a complete sentence.
Yes, it's very difficult. So I think so I would start, because usually it depends on where you are. For example, my good friend Tanya is a very strict and very firm lady. So when she tells me no, it's a no, because her answer is, you know, unless that's something that's really meaningful, she will say no. So I respect that. But whereas a lot of my other friends, they will always say yes. So if you change from the always yes to an immediate no, people are gonna be, okay, though that's weird. So you have to give a little bit process. That's why I would say start with my New Year intention. This year, I want to say no more often. So I will always tell my KPI, learning, earning, purpose, or whatever is valid for you. Then I'm gonna say, you start to explain at the beginning, because you cannot shift from yes to a hard no. So you're gonna say, you explain, but you do not explain the reason to the person. You are explaining to yourself, saying, I don't want to do this because now my priority are on this. What do you think? So if you can approach me again in a month, I might have more time, or let's schedule it in a month. So I'm doing an action rather than just reject. So know where you are and progress a little bit, have a little bit steps rather than immediately, because I think the post you were referring to, I had a friend of a lady. I was just a female founder. I was asking whether let's be on the podcast. And she said, oh, Jingjin, no, thank you. And I was like, something is odd. What's uneasiness? And then I did a little reflection. I found, because I never see any woman, especially woman, saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't because I have to do this and that, and my plate is full. Usually comes with, I'm sorry, a lot of explanation, and no. But in the moment when I ask you, it's not you to explain to me. I ask you something. So give context a little bit as well. So I was asking her why why don't you say sorry, explain? Because we're good friends, so I can ask you, why should I be sorry for something that I don't want to do and someone actually asked me? Why should I be sorry about it? So I was very amazed. But she has always been a bit stricter, so I respect that. But if you are, let's say, a people pleaser, and next day your colleague asks you, hey, let's organize the IWD event again. You say, no. Then you say, okay, this year intention is that, okay, if you want to be the IWD event, I can do it if I can drop A. Or if I want to do the IWD event, is it going to lead to a salary promotion? Is it going to lead something? So if I organize this, what's in for me? Empowering women, that's too weird. Okay. Yes.
Can you just elaborate more on meetings? You were saying sometimes for corporates, particularly maybe for some junior people, if you've been asked to attend certain kinds of meetings during the day, how do you get around then trying to break it up in 30 minutes?
Meetings, right? So when to use, the question is, so when in terms of meetings, how can you set it up in a way that suits more to you? right? Okay, so in corporate setting, very often I think most people work in corporate setting when you have some are non-negotiable. Team meeting, when you have a global meeting, must be at 9 o'clock. No. I think it always starts with have the communication first. You have a small team, or if you are the boss, that's great because you can really set the rule in saying now, because I hear that everyone has different chronotype, and these are the strategic project. I want you to do it on your, on your peak time. So when have this performance review, when is your peak time? If you say my peak time is 9 to 10, 9 to 11, how can I make it in a way that I hold back client meeting or I hold back some of the things? So have the clear communication. I think that's most important, especially in a team meeting. When you say we have a, let's say, smaller team and everyone has different chronotype, you have if you have to get people together to have team meeting, does it need to be on our peak time? Because team meeting, not everyone has to pay a lot of attention. Can we shorten the time? Can we do a walk meeting, for example? Or can we do a shorter meeting? Or can we do a meeting that is just simply a different time? And I think communicate to your boss when you are a more junior person saying, I want to be more sufficient, I want to be more effective, and these are my peak time that I want to do my project. So if you work in the open office, there's a very interesting, I have this one team, they have this LED fairy lights, so they put it on their head and say in the moment where I put it on their hair is do not disturb. So I am in my peak time. Because they will put on their headset, because then people say, okay, maybe they think I'm listening to music. Oh, no. So I am on my headset, I'm in my focus mode. Because in big offices, so they have this, and they have some do not distract shield as well. You start with communication. And then especially sometimes you go, okay, Asian bosses, they will never do this. You will be surprised. This is actually an Asian company, my republic actually. So they keep communicate to the boss saying we want to be more efficient, and I don't want to be distracted all the time by email, by meeting. So they started to have this fairy light just on their head and say, okay, this is a do not disturb sign. It's nice, people laugh about it, they communicate openly to everyone else, and so people just don't break the rule. So I think communication is really crucial. And then have the buy-ins of coworkers as well. And then you will be surprised, everyone wants to have less meeting, more time to do the things, really get things done. Helpful?
Just to add to
Yes.
that, one of the things that really helped me is actually
Speak up.
forcing everyone to use my Calendly. So I've actually scheduled only 30 minutes for every meeting, regardless if it's a new business meeting or business meeting with my boss. It's often just 30 minutes. And that was actually communicated back to me that they respect that I've given a very specific time, because anything that can be discussed should be able to be discussed
Yes.
in 30 minutes, not
Yes.
more than that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. Yes, and I always come with an agenda. Whenever I set a meeting, people want to set a meeting with me, I would say, okay, what is the 3 things? What do we want to solve? What's the respective outcome we expect? And then do we come with an intention? I think just this corporate, let's all meet and collaborate and then have many discussions which leads to nothing. I think the new work is, especially through hybrid, we need to be more conscious about that. All right, we are done. Thank you so much for attending. We're gonna take a picture. Connect with me on LinkedIn, scan me, and yeah, reach out. If you have any other questions, if you want to do corporate workshop with your organization, ta-da! Thank you very much.